Hi everybody, Radical Gardener. Tuesday, June 8th, 7th. Let's see what Mr. Computer says, 7th. All right, hotter than hell. I'm here to tell you. Okay, I'm not going to really talk about the wand today because I've already done that twice, but quite a few of you have reached out and ordered, and I woke up this morning. It wasn't hard to stand up. I've been battling this knee thing, and it's just, for things that are chronic, like if you've had for example, having a bad knee. Again, I was told years ago that my knees were bone on bone, whatever. So I completely changed my diet. My knees stopped hurting completely. Arthritis can reverse itself. A lot of people have done it, even if it's bone on bone. But whatever. Everybody does what they need to do. So, I got a little sidetracked there. So I went on an anti-inflammatory diet, and the pain stopped within days. So, falling a lot, which you guys know my history. I've got my head in the clouds. I never watch where I'm going. I do that now. I watch where I'm going now. And things become, I don't know if chronic, but absolutely annoying. I mean, the knee, it would kind of get better, then it wouldn't, and get better, then it wouldn't. And now it's close. It's close to being done. So that's taken a week and a half, maybe. Not bad. Other things have been instant. I had a couple of, just little things growing, and who knows, could be pimples or whatever, because I detox a lot, so that could be it. I put the one on, it's gone like in an hour. What I'm finding I like to do is I like to do it at night. And then what happens is I have a very sound sleep. And I'm really relaxed, and I take my time. So I'm charging my water in the morning, and this is all I drink. When I started, I drank a lot of water, and it was too much. It was detoxing too much. It was too hard on me. So be really careful. Consider your age, how how physical are you, all of those things. All right. So a wonderful YouTube subscriber who actually was the one that convinced me to move to Florida and to get into crypto. We'll talk about crypto at a later time. But great guy, very knowledgeable. He was from Michigan, so we just kind of bonded. We're both from Michigan, and he was telling me, he was saying, you should move to Florida, and he was talking about it, and that's what first put the thought in my head. I thought maybe we should move to Florida, and then I started thinking about it more and more. I go, why aren't we moving to Florida? And at the same time, I had the whole drama going on. My garden, the city wouldn't let me build a greenhouse, and Sean, my friend Sean, he had the thing kind of halfway built. It was just, the whole thing just left such a bad taste in my mouth. And of course, everything happens for a reason. If that wouldn't have happened, I'd probably still be in Michigan. But I said, I don't want to be in the house six months out of the year. I want a garden. I want to be outside. And the ocean sounds pretty good to me. So I was talking to him long way around, and he's telling me these different people that he's listened to, and I was just beside myself. There are people that I watch on YouTube, but it's a very short list. My favorite is Forum Borealis. He is amazing. He's brilliant. Who else do I really like Cliff High. He's not right all the time, but he's smart, right? Like, he and I don't agree what kind of C60 you should take. That's okay, but he's smart, and he introduced C60, and that's how I found out about it, and I just did more research, so I ended up somewhere different than him. That's cool. So him, I look for his stuff, because at least he has an ability to think, and so I really like that. And he doesn't mimic other people. And the other guy I like, but I don't make a habit of watching him, is Greg Hunter. I just find him to be a regular guy. I love his delivery. He makes me laugh. I don't think he's right about everything, but I do especially love when he has Cliff High on. It seems to be that when Cliff High is on his show, doing a recap of what we can expect in the upcoming months, he seems to be really grounded with Greg Hunter. So I really enjoy that. So anyway, so basically everybody else, unless they're a gardening channel or something, I don't really think they know what they're talking about. Or, they're not great thinkers, or they're just mimicking what everybody else is saying. So I've really weaned myself off. I do have to say the one political guy I watch is X22. And I love his delivery. He's an honest guy. You can tell he's an honest guy. He's just really positive, and he's not, without being a Pollyanna. And I stay fairly informed with him, so I do like him. That's it. It's a short list. So back to Craig, who was telling me about these different people, what they were saying. Like, oh my God. It was driving me crazy. So let's start out with some of the stuff. That Earth is a prison planet, and we're here, playing out our karmic debt. I don't even believe in karma. I'll explain that in a minute. What have we all done something wrong, and now we're here paying our debt to the spiritual forces, and some of these people are channeling different things. And I have to say, when you're channeling, and there's some people that have channeled that are incredible, but they're rare, because you have to be pretty pure of mind and pure of source. And if not, the information comes through a bit skewed. And I watch this happen in mystery school over and over again. And one of the culprits is Metatron. And like people, there's people that glommed onto that. I've watched people get so sick channeling that entity. And I've seen their lives go haywire. But I watch what a lot of these channeled spirits or whatever do is they have half-truths. So there's enough there that will make sense and you'll resonate with, and then they go a little bit to the left, right? I watched that with Metatron diagnosing, especially like, some women with some health issues. And he's recommending to take these things which really weren't healthy for you. And, I watched it. Quite a few things happen from that being channeled. And this was a woman that was ahead of the mystery school. These people weren't punks. So when he's telling me that, I said, this is not how it works. And what's happened is that, even though people say, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious, they've let the religious part of, or religious ideology permeate their ideology. So they've got the whole evil, good, punishment, all of that. They have it all mixed in with their New Age ideology. That's why I don't listen to them. Their thinking is sloppy, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to read something to you here. I know this is going to make sense to you. Throughout your reincarnational existences, you expand your consciousness, your ideas, your perceptions, your values. You break away from self-adopted restrictions, and you grow spiritually as you learn to step aside from limiting conceptions and dogmas. Get it? Your rate of learning depends entirely upon you. We're not being punished. We chose to create this reality. The whole kit and caboodle, all the stuff that that people call evil, all of it, we created it because we as a group of people, we as a collective, needed to move through it so it's no longer a part of it's no longer necessary for us to be limited by that thinking or those ideologies. It's necessary so that it is a doorway into the truth. Your rate of learning depends entirely upon you, however. Limited, dogmatic, or rigid concepts of good and evil can hold you back. Too narrow ideas of the nature of existence can follow you through several lives if you do not choose to be spiritually and psychically flexible. These rigid ideas can indeed act as leashes, so that you are forced to circle like a tied puppy about a very small radius. In such cases, through perhaps a group of existences, you will find yourself battling against ideas of good and evil, running about in a circle of confusion, doubt, and anxiety. Your friends and acquaintances will be concerned with the same problems, for you will draw to yourself those with the same concerns. I am telling you again, therefore, that many of your ideas of good and evil are highly distortive and shadow all understanding you have of the nature of reality. If you form a guilt in your mind, then it is a reality for you. See, you create those things. I mean, those are realities. Good against evil, that has just become a reality to you, right? How about if, like, everything's an event, everything's a learning curve? How about that? So you will draw to yourself those with the same, oh, all right. So your friends and acquaintances will be concerned with the same problems, for you will draw to yourself those with the same concerns. I'm telling you again, therefore, that many of your ideas of good and evil are highly distortive and shadow all understanding you have of the nature of reality. Walk into almost any church. If you form a guilt in your mind, then it is reality for you, right? So karma, the whole concept of karma is almost a guilt. It's like, well, I must have done things in the past life. That's not how it works. We're choosing to have these realities. We're co-creators. So, but many of you form guilts for which there is no adequate cause, and you saddle yourselves with these guilts without reason. In your dimension of activity, there appears to be a wild assortment of evils. Let me tell you, that who hates an evil merely creates another one. From within your point of reference, it is often difficult for you to perceive that all events work toward creativity, or to trust in the spontaneous creativity of your own natures. Within your system, to kill is obviously a moral crime, but to kill another in punishment only compounds the original error. Someone very well known who established a church, if you will, a civilization, once said, "Turn the other cheek if you are attacked." The original meaning of that remark, however, should be understood. You should turn the other cheek because you realize that basically the attacker only attacks himself. Then you are free. And the reaction is a good one. If you turn the other cheek without this understanding, however, and feel resentful, or if you turn the other cheek out of a feeling of a pseudo-moral superiority, then the reaction is far from adequate. Now, all of this can be applied to your relationships in your reincarnational existences, and of course, it also is highly pertinent to your current daily experience. If you hate another person, that hate may bind you to him through as many lives as you allow the hate to consume you. You draw to yourself in this existence and in all others those qualities upon which you concentrate your attention. If you vividly concern yourself with the injustices you feel have been done to you, you then attract more such experience. And if this goes on, then it will be mirrored in your next existence. It is true that in between lives there is time for understanding and contemplation. That's what Rudolf Steiner says. Those who do not take advantage of such opportunities in this life often do not do so when it is over. Consciousness will expand. It will create. It will turn itself inside out to do so. There's nothing outside of yourself that will force you to understand these issues or face them. It's you that faces it. It's your decision. It's your consciousness. No one tells you to do it. You do it. And you do that through experience. It is useless then to say, when this life is over, I will look upon my experience and mend my ways. This is like a young man saying, when I grow old and retire, I will use all those abilities that I am not now developing. You are setting the stage for your next life now. The thoughts you think today will in one way or another become the fabric of your next existence. There are no magic words that will make you wise, that will fill you with understanding and compassion, that will expand your consciousness. It only happens through your experience and understanding. The whole kit and caboodle is in your lap. So we are co-creators of God. Why? We all have the God cell in us, right? A-U-M, I am God. That's what Jesus was saying. Hello, you have all these abilities. You might want to use these. There's no such thing as death. Hello. Your thoughts and everyday experience contain the answers. Any successes in this life, any abilities you have been worked out through your past experience, they are yours by right. You work to develop them. If you look up about you at your relatives, friends, acquaintances, and business associates, you will also see what kind of a person you are, for you are drawn to them as they are drawn to you, through very basic inner similarities. Now, let me say something about that. As I've been selling this wand, you know, I've been talking a lot to people, and of course some of them are really, really sick. They have a knee-jerk reaction when you're saying things like, well, this didn't happen to you. It happened because of you. You wanted this experience. Now, when they've been through something horrific, they just can't wrap their head around that. Why would they want this for themselves? I don't know. I don't know why. That's their personal journey. And they're, you know, and I know you're going to hear, you know, well, what about abuse? What about this? What about that? I'm just going to tell you from my personal experience that at the age of 70, and as I look back, and I've done a lot of things that I was a crazy, crazy young lady. You know, I was in a band, I toured, I drank, did drugs. It was the 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, come on. So the things that happened, like struggling for money, or, there was a lot. I don't want to go into my own personal history, but believe me, there was a lot. And I was bringing that to me. You know, if I really sat down, I could say, well, my parents were divorced, and, you know, or I could start blaming things. Like, we love to, blame government and, the FDA and, religion. And, we just love to blame. We love to blame everything. We created it. We created this world. We created it. Look in the mirror. You want to blame somebody. And it's not blame. Get rid of the word blame. Learning. Experience. Right? Joseph Campbell, one of the wisest people ever. Joseph Campbell, they asked him, what's your religion? He says, experience is my religion. That is just one of my all-time favorite quotes. In that series he did with Bill Moyer. So if you examine your thoughts for 5 minutes at various times during the day for several times a month, you will indeed receive a correct impression of the kind of life you have so far arranged for yourself in the next existence. So you can kind of see, I wonder what's going to be coming, right? Let me just get rid of that. Okay, where was I? If you're not pleased with what you discover, then you had better begin changing the nature of your thoughts and feelings. As you will see later in this book, you can do so. There's no rule saying that in each life you must meet again those whom you have known before, and yet through the nature of attraction, that is often the case. Moving on. You may be born into your present family for many reasons. You may find after death a much stronger relationship emotionally and with a personality from a past life. If you are married, for example, and have no true rapport with your mate, you may instead find a past wife or husband waiting for you. All right, so let's look at that. A lot of people are estranged from their families just because of some choices that they've made in the last few years. I mean, a gal that I knew for a while, and actually we had a falling out. Just, in my opinion, she had an inability to listen to me. She kept trying to get me to look at things I didn't care about. And it just got old, saying, no, I'm not really interested. No, I'm not really interested. And then, she just really didn't like me anymore. So, but anyway, but I've watched with some people, and they can't get they can't understand why their family won't listen to them. You set it up. You set that family up before you ever came into this life. So what is the lesson? I don't know. Is the lesson that allowing all people to just be who they are and not trying to force them into your way of thinking? I mean, I think that's a big lesson, isn't it? Loving them for who and what they are, and just you don't need to keep bringing your belief system and shoving it down your throat. Of course they don't want to see you. You're trying to shove your belief system down their throat. How does it feel when they're trying to shove theirs down yours? Come on. It goes two ways. See, this stuff's common sense as far as I'm concerned. So it says, oftentimes members of various groups, military groups, church groups, hunting groups, will in another life form family relationships in which they will then work out old problems in new ways. Families must be considered as gestalts of psychic activity. They have a subjective identity of which no particular member of the group may be aware. Families have subconscious purposes through the individual members of the family may pursue these goals without conscious awareness. Such groups are set up ahead of time, so to speak. So you make those choices before you ever enter, this reality. In between physical existences. So those decisions are made before you come here. Oftentimes, 4 or 5 individuals will set themselves a given challenge and assign to the various members different parts to play. Then in a physical existence, the roles will be worked out. Now with that piece of information, I went back and looked at my family and went, oh, I see what was going on there. Oh, right? I don't have any regrets. I have one regret. Let me say that. I have one regret. And that is, I was so combative when I was young. I was just angry. Honestly, I can't even tell you what I was angry about. I would just, yes, I do. I am an indigo, and I came in early. I came in the early 50s. There weren't a lot of us. And I'm classic indigo, classic. So nothing made sense to me. Probably from the moment I popped out of the womb. Nothing made sense. And it still doesn't. I don't let it get to me anymore. I don't really care anymore. And actually it does make sense to me now that I've put it in the context of a bigger picture. But I would just be so about everything, why are there parking meters? We already pay taxes, for these streets. I was doing that like when I was 13. Honestly, I really was driving myself insane. So I was very angry all the time. Well, that really, and my mother was this gentle soul, so wise. And I really missed that opportunity to just be as close as I possibly could to her, because it would have been an incredible relationship, very much alike. And she died young. So, I will get a chance to review that and I can even do that now in my sleep and my altered state of consciousness, and go back and really review it and create a different scenario. So I can be working on that right now. See how that works? Families have subconscious purposes through the individual members of the family may pursue these goals without conscious awareness. Okay. The inner self is always aware of the hidden mechanisms of these family gestalts. Those who have been closely bound through emotional ties often prefer to remain in closely tied or loosely tied physical relationships that continue through many lifetimes. New relationships are always encouraged, however, for you to have ingrown reincarnational families. Many of these form physical organizations that are actually manifestations of inner groupings. I'm going to stop there. There's a lot here. I mean, I'm making my point. You know, when Joe died, I said to him, no, without even really reading this, I said to him, I said, do not hang around here and protect me. I don't need protection. I said, because Joe is so wise. I think Joe came from a future, but he was so wise, so knowledgeable. And I said, go to the Galactic Center. That's where, go where it all is. Go where all the records are. Go where, you know, the seed. Go to the Galactic Center. And I said, that's where you belong. Don't stick around. I don't need you to protect me. Well, not only did he not listen to me, but he's like, the guy is just with me all the time. But he's also there. And when I said that, I hadn't realized yet that you could be in both places at once. So much we don't know. Anyways, be careful who you listen to. You can listen to me. Just all right. Will you do me a favor and give me a thumbs up? I never asked that, but you know, I'm really going to commit to my channel, and I really want to grow the channel. If you have an ability to share it with anybody, would you do that for me, please? I know I'm not on a lot of social media. I'm thinking about reviewing that and going ahead and doing that, because I do want to, there's so much I want to talk about, and I feel a lot of it's not being addressed. So I think I have a niche that I can, you know, that I can fill. So anyways, Radical Gardener, from my garden to yours, may your garden always grow. Sending you a ton of love. Okay, bye.